Hello and welcome to another edition of Technoholic on ET Now. We've got a great show lined up for you today, so let the other Technoholics tell you what they've got served up.
Hey Abhi, I'm going to get my hands dirty with a do-it-yourself Robo kit.
I'm going to show you how to boost your Vista laptop with some multivitamins.
And I'm going to tell you how to do just the opposite. Ditch that Windows laptop and come to the Apple family.
Well, as you can see, we've got tons lined up for you on this show today, but of course, our big highlight on the show are the two tiny desktops, one of course from the Mac stable and one running Windows from Acer. Both really nice, small, sleek desktops. You would in fact barely even recognize them as desktops. You'd probably think of them as portable hard drives if you first saw them. Of course, the Mac Mini has been around for a while. It debuted as far back as 2005, but it hasn't had an overhaul in quite a while. This new version, almost 2 years since its last upgrade, but finally Apple decided to really boost the specs and come out with a new Mac Mini in March 2009, and it's finally come to India. And of course, this is Acer's all new, well, some people are calling it a net top, like we had the netbooks, the smaller, slightly low spec laptops, which people said are good only for basic web surfing and some basic applications and not necessarily for high-end things like gaming. Well, some would say that these net tops are the netbook equivalent of desktops. So you have laptop or notebook and nettop, and you have desktop and nettop, mainly because again these run on the Intel Atom processor, take lower power, lesser energy, and well, not very powerful, but definitely do the job in such a tiny size. So let's quickly give you the basic specs on both these machines. First, let's go with the new Mac Mini.
The all-new Mac Mini in true signature Apple style looks sleek as ever. This Mini houses a 2.6 GHz Intel Core 2 Duo processor and a GeForce NVIDIA 9400 graphics card. Connectivity options include Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. With 5 USB ports and a FireWire port, your Mac experience is just a big white block away. Fresh off the block comes Mac Mini's competitor from Acer, the Acer Revo. This blue box is powered by an Intel Atom processor, 2GB RAM and a GeForce 9400 graphics card. It's also got 6 USB ports, a memory card reader, and is capable of full HD output. At 160GB hard disk space, the Acer Revo could very well be the net top you're looking for.
Okay, so there you've seen the specs of the two machines. Let's actually even show you what they look like. This of course is the Mac Mini that is connected to this View Intelligent TV. Let me just hit escape and get out of this. And here you have your regular Apple dock, and works exactly like Mac OS X on a regular desktop or in a regular Mac or on a MacBook. And if you're familiar with the Mac system, you'll enjoy the Mac Mini. Gives you almost everything you'd expect from Mac, but can get slow on some high-end applications like Final Cut Pro, which is the movie editing software. But do note that the Mac Mini's 36,000 rupee price tag excludes any accessories. So it just comes with one power cable and one small adapter to convert from its mini port to DVI, and most probably you will need at least one, if not sometimes two extra cables to convert it into something that your display can handle, unless of course you have an Apple display, and those can be pretty expensive. And then of course you need to get other stuff like a webcam and a mouse and the keyboard. The Mac Mini comes with none of that, and maybe that's a bit of a downer because you need to buy lots of other stuff. But otherwise, in terms of form factor, really neat and tidy. And now you get hard disks in the same shape, so you can just stack them one on top of the other to increase the disk space. In that respect, actually, we were more impressed with the Acer Revo because it was ready to use the moment you open the box packaging, mainly because it came with a very cool wireless keyboard and mouse. I'm glad they gave a wireless option and not a wired one, because that really spoils the fun of having this small tiny kind of a desktop that you can just hide behind your TV and use it like a media center machine. So I'm going to change the source input, and immediately you'll see the one thing that's not so great about the Acer Revo, and that is that for a low powered machine, it wasn't a great idea to put Windows Vista on it. It runs on Vista, And well, we all know that Vista isn't particularly the most stable operating system, hogs a lot of hardware, and kind of takes the juice out of this Acer Revo. It would have been great if they had installed XP on it, in my opinion, but still it does the job. The keyboard and the mouse work really well. They've attached this very cool webcam as well, which comes along, so you're ready to Skype as you can see here the moment you start. Lots of USB ports. I'm very impressed that they give an HDMI port as well, so you can actually use this just as your HD console, put it behind your plasma and keep downloading HD movies and watch it in full HD just as a cool media center. They have put a pretty interesting stand for the Aspire Revo. It's a parallelogram shape and looks quite classy, except that the stand is a tad unstable. The other option is using this base plate. Let me put that clock back. The base plate can actually be screwed onto the back of most standard TVs, so this can actually become like a CPU embedded into a TV from behind, and you can't really see what's happening. Overall, the form factor very nice. I like the fact that it has an SD card slot, which of course the Mac Mini doesn't have. And on the whole, a very nice design. If they could only get some more firepower into it as far as hardware is concerned, it'll probably sell very, very well. So we really like the Acer Aspire Revo, and typically when we like a gadget, we like getting the company on the show and discuss a few of the things with them. So we have S. Rajendran, who's Chief Marketing Officer at Acer India, to answer a few questions for us. Thanks, Mr. Rajendran, for joining us on the show. Did your consumer research by any chance show that people are still interested in desktops? One would have thought that everybody's moved to laptops completely. So who are these people who are still buying desktops?
In a category like desktops where there is some signs of maturity, people are giving a lot of premium for different form factors. So when there is a desktop which comes with a small revolutionary form factor like 1 liter, or about 2 years back we had a 3 liter form factor, it becomes a very compelling value proposition to the customers. So the simple answer is yes. They are voting it with their wallets for getting into new form factors. Any particular reason that you chose to bundle Windows Vista along with this, well, I wouldn't say low spec machine, but it's not particularly a very high-end machine either. Maybe something like XP would have been more stable? Yeah, it's a good question. There are two things I just wanted to mention. See, over time, hardware, being a commodity, has been beefed up, where today at the entry level you have a desktop with 2 GB or 320 GB hard disk. Gone are the years where it used to be 64 MB or it used to be 10 GB. So the resources per se in terms of hardware is matching up. And number two, there are still a lot of users who have not been able to do the patch upgrade for Vista, which brings a world of difference in the user experience. And as we are talking, a couple of months down the line, we are going to have all our products transition to the, as we understand, much better designed Windows 7. And very quickly, one final question. I noticed an HDMI port on this as well, which even the Mac Mini doesn't have. So you expecting a lot of people to connect this up straight to their TVs and use it as an HD media player? Absolutely right, because we are talking of it as a unit in the drawing room. We expect people to use this as an entertainment device, infotainment device, which can hook up to the already existing LCD TVs or LED TVs, which anyway today come with HDMI as a standard. Right, Mr. Rajendran, thanks so much for joining us on Technoholics. So there you have it. 26K for the Aspire Revo, and finally some competition from the Windows table to the Mac Mini line, which was till now the undisputed champ of tiny desktops. I think the Revo series really gives it a run for its money, and if you just don't like the Mac operating system for some reason and prefer using Windows, even if Vista is a bit slow, on the whole it's a big thumbs up to the Acer Aspire Revo from our side, except for the fact that it runs Vista, which is probably more Microsoft's fault than Acer's. But anyway, we'll take a short break on that note. We're nowhere done with the Mac versus Windows debate. More on that on the other side of the show.